The Wii was an overwhelming success for Nintendo, one of its best-selling consoles of all time, and a defining feature of the Wii was the Wii Shop. This was home to the Virtual Console, which allowed you to play classics from many different platforms over the years. Mega Drive, TurboGrafx, Master System, Nintendo, Super Nintendo, 64, the list goes on. In addition to that, there were also Wii Ware titles. This was home to original games put out on the Wii Shop that were brand new to the console, had never been released on other consoles previously. Now, the Wii Shop itself, unfortunately, was announced to end January 30th, 2019. The catch to that is you can only add points to purchase games in the shop through March 26th, 2018, meaning that we're in the final days here if you wish to purchase some of these games before they're gone. So join us as we go through our list of games and recommendations that we think are worth picking up before it's too late.
Some of the greatest pinball games in a video game format lie in the Crush series, most notably on the TurboGrafx 16. Alien Crush is the first of that series, and it was released in 1989. It featured a much better experience than most other 8-bit pinball counterparts. 19 years later, Alien Crush Returns made its debut as a Wii Ware title. While the original game had an eerie atmosphere, this sequel I would describe as flat out gross. The table is full of organs, intestines, and of course aliens. But the objective is to hit all the aliens roaming around the table to eventually unlock a boss and more tables. It's a short experience, and video game pinball has really taken off since this 2008 release, both with fictitious and real-world table simulations. But the Wii Shop is the only place you will find this experience. Oh, and if you want to try the original TurboGrafx game, that's on the Wii as well.
An early standout WiiWare title was Lost Winds. Lost Winds was a platformer in the style of Metroidvania that had you following a young protagonist as he explored the areas around his small home. And what's notable about this game is great puzzles, great visuals, and just a fantastic use of motion controls. Something that plagued the Wii because it wasn't always done correctly. But Lost Winds nailed it. And this was initially part of a planned trilogy. While we did get Lost Winds 2 on the WiiWare platform, which was another great game, following very closely to the first in performance and visuals, we never got the third to wrap it up. So I recommend picking up both these games while you can, and who knows, could we get Lost Winds 3 on the Switch?
If you've played a Harvest Moon game in the past, you know the grind. Big news, your grandpa's dead. But there's no time to mourn your loss, you need to take over the family farm. And boy, was your grandpa slacking at the upkeep. So you bust your ass, clean up the place, endure storms and seasons to farm every veggie and fruit you can. Your reward is in the form of money to further invest in the farm. But who's paying you? Well, the local store. And what an easy job that would be, just to play middleman and make profits off all the local hard workers. Why isn't there a game for that? Well, that's where Harvest Moon, My Little Shop, comes in. In this game, your parents are archaeologists and find their career to be much more important than raising their children. So you're shipped off to spend time with Grandma and help her with her store. A number of characters from other Harvest Moon games make a stop to your town, which is a fan's dream, as most characters do not inhabit multiple games. Overall, the game is just as much a minigame collection as it is a store management simulation. The two-dimensional aspect, the controls, and a Paper Mario-style visual effect are very unique to the Harvest Moon series. The game is also in real time and features a more robust decorating system that I feel like is almost a reaction to Animal Crossing. If you're a Harvest Moon diehard, it's best to grab it now, as the game is a WiiWare exclusive and will likely stay that way.
Another great WiiWare title, Excitebike World Rally. Following sort of the resurgence of the Excite brand with Excite Truck in the early days of the Wii, Excitebike World Rally had you taking on a familiar formula similar to the original Excitebike on the NES. There were morphing jumps. You could do a wheelie move now, where you could ride over the backs of opponents rather than simply crashing if you ran into them. It also featured online gameplay, leaderboards, and matchmaking. Unfortunately, that feature is gone since the online capabilities, at least for gaming, on the Wii were shut down several years ago.
Forgotten shoot-'em-up series is Hudson's Star Soldier. While most fond memories are from the 8-bit era, a WiiWare title came out of the blue in 2008. Star Soldier R offered the classic vertical scrolling shooting in nice-looking 3D, but anything would look better than that N64 game. The power-ups are still pretty basic. One increases bullets and the other increases its shield. Unfortunately, they changed the progression of just beating levels to more of a time and score attack. Not a great direction in my opinion, but as far as unique shoot-'em-ups in the WiiWare space go, it's probably near the top. That said, almost the whole series is included on the Wii Virtual Console, including some PC Engine versions that didn't make it over to North America. I'd suggest trying them out before this. Square Enix was a huge supporter of WiiWare from the start, and they weren't afraid to use their biggest franchise to make smaller experiences for the platform. Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles My Life as a King is not what you would think. It's a city building simulator with Final Fantasy flair and an RPG feel. At the time, the graphics looked leaps and bounds above most WiiWare titles, although the game's engine and assets were most likely based on the Crystal Bearers. Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles My Life as a Dark Lord may win the category for the best name of a WiiWare game. Again, breaking from its usual Final Fantasy format, this game was a tower defense game. While maybe the best playing game out of all the Final Fantasy WiiWare games, tower defense as a genre was near exhausted at its release in 2009, and I have not had an itch to play any of those since. Final Fantasy IV The After Years blew my mind when it was first revealed. Returning to the story of some cherished characters all while creating new content in the 16-bit art style? Hell yeah! Unfortunately, this game was episodic and it came in multiple packs. The difficulty was a bit high and the encounter rate was kind of annoying, but seeing more of your favorites like Kain, Rydia, and the twins just might be worth it. Unlike the Crystal Chronicles games, this game did get ported to other platforms, so I would highly suggest going for the Final Fantasy IV The Complete Collection on the PSP to avoid messing with the episodes.
Moving on to another pair of WiiWare titles that are worth picking up, Taito released Arkanoid Plus, a revamped version of Arkanoid featuring some new game modes, better visuals, DLC to add additional levels. It's your typical block-breaking game, alleyway, breakout, Pong, all in the same vein, but Arkanoid has a unique feel, and this is one of the best ways you can play the game. It looks great, and similarly, they released Bubble Bobble Plus, which was on the WiiWare platform as well. Again, another visual overhaul to an NES classic, featuring some much-needed updates to the visuals. You've got some different levels that you can download again as DLC packs, which just really round out the package. So definitely check out Taito's entries into the WiiWare with Arkanoid Plus and Bubble Bubble Plus. Classics that shouldn't be missed.
Advanced Buster Hawk Gleylancer for short, is a 1992 side-scrolling shooter for the Sega Mega Drive. While the 16-bit Sega is known for a great collection of shoot-'em-ups, Gleylancer never made it over to North America. The game's story dives headfirst with images of very anime-style characters, which is most likely the reason it wasn't localized, even though plenty had before that. Finally, in 2008, it reached the Wii Virtual Console, and it's very playable. The story is still in its native language, but there is a surprising amount of English to get you going. The game features some rockin' music, almost a standard for Sega shooters, and the shooting mechanics are similar to Konami's, with 2 options, or robot gunners, to help you fire extra bullets. However, there are 7 different patterns the options can be configured in, so its playstyle is very customizable. If you enjoy Gradius and Thunder Force, you need to boot up your Wii and give this a try.
On to the Virtual Console, One of the defining features again of the Wii Shop was the Virtual Console, and a great system on there is the TurboGrafx. TurboGrafx games are notoriously expensive, and the system itself is harder to find. So it's a great way to pick up and play any of those classic games, Air Zonk, Blazing Lasers, Bonks. But the one that I think you should go for is Castlevania Rondo of Blood. This game was not released anywhere up until it hit the Wii Ware Virtual Console outside of the PC Engine at that time. So you can get a port that came to the Super Nintendo, which is Castlevania X, but a lot of people consider that the dumbed down version. If you want the true experience and an affordable way to pick up and play this game without breaking the bank, you can't go wrong with this one.
Euphoria, the Saga, is a Sunsoft game for the NES. If you're a collector, your ears just perked up, and you're probably aware that this title is a very late release and is one of the few games Europe got, but not North America. While the cart commands a high price, and there are a number of reproductions out there, the Wii, of all places, is the only place it ever came over officially to the US. The game could be described as Metroid, but cute. Here you will be looking for your friends to join your team, and each one has their own skill that will allow you to access new areas. It's not overly difficult and has some good humor that wasn't all that present on the NES. So if you're looking for a quality game with some nice graphics and fun music, Euphoria is worth the look. Game Freak, the creators and developers of this small video game franchise called Pokemon, actually had their hooks in the industry well before you had to catch them all. They were already working with Nintendo with some pretty big characters like Yoshi, Mario, and Wario, so it's easy to see why a high-action platformer for Sega, their competitor, would seem like a little out of left field. Pulseman is an impressive game for the Mega Drive. Like my other recommendations, this didn't come west, and the Wii is its only home here. It's got great mobility and requires fast action that fits right into the beautiful sprite work. They did a lot of voice work that I feel isn't very great anymore after being spoiled by decades of CD quality audio. The music is sort of a letdown as well, but if you enjoy games like Rocket Knight Adventures, this is probably a must-own.
So there you have it, just a few great games that you should pick up on the Wii Shop before it's too late. Did we miss any games that you love? Let us know in the comments below.